growing a business is obviously it's really difficult, and we've cancelled numerous holidays. We've had loads of things that got in the way of life because our business has come just first for so much of the time, and it's actually working together, I think, has made the whole thing tolerable.
Matthew Mills, CEO of Deliciously Ella, the plant-based brand which started as a personal blog by Ella Mills and has now evolved into an app, recipe books, a restaurant, a range of some 40-something food products, I believe, and a podcast with 25 million downloads.
Ella and I actually met right after her first book came out in January of 2015, and we started dating a couple of weeks after it had come out, and everything had moved very quickly in our relationship. We moved into with each other after a week. We bought a dog after about 6 weeks, and I still believe this to this day, that much more so than, we're not a restaurant or an FMCG business or an app or a cookery book. At our absolute core, we are a plant-based food and wellness company, and that is what Ella had started.
Now, I read that back in May 2015, you and your wife Ella went for a walk with each other, and by the end of that walk, you decided you wanted to start a business together. And the first thing that you wanted to start, so ultimately wanted to start, was a restaurant. Can you take me back to that time in 2015? What were you doing work-wise personally? And what memories have you got from that conversation?
Sure, yeah. So Ella and I actually met right after her first book came out in January of 2015, and we started dating a couple of weeks after it had come out, and everything had moved very quickly in our relationship. We moved into with each other after a week. We bought a dog after about 6 weeks, and we went for a walk in, I think, May or June of 2015, and we just started discussing. I had been working in finance, but had very itchy feet and wanted to leave, and it was just so clear that there was a business opportunity here to do something between us. And Ella had built this amazing community of people through her recipe website, and the book had really taken the brand from being what was an online community into something that was offline and being spoken about in the press. And it just was starkly clear to us that there was a business opportunity, and we felt like we could combine what felt like some skill sets then. Looking back, I'm not sure if we had too many skill sets between us, but we've been on a great journey of acquiring those. But it just felt that there was an obvious opportunity there, and we went on and we got back from that walk, and I decided I'd quit my job and that we would start trying to do something together.
And that was the first time you'd had that conversation, let's start business together?
Yeah, it really was. I think that our relationship had moved incredibly fast. There was a lot happening in our world at the time, and that was the first time we really decided it. But it was a 1 or 2 hour walk, and it was crystal clear in our minds when we got back from it that we should do something together.
What do you think are some of the keys to building, not just a community, but like an engaged community?
I think first of all, I think it's about complete consistency. I think people have to know what they're coming to you for. I think that if you are doing something where the content that you're doing is erratic or it isn't consistent, I think it's very difficult to build a community around that. I think that if you want to, I keep using this word useful, but I think it's a really important word in community. There is obviously, I think there must be millions and millions of Instagram accounts that people can follow, but which ones are actually useful to their life? I think particularly as people appear to be trying to spend slightly less time on their phones as well, how do you create content for them that isn't just a scroll for a scroll's sake, but is something that can actually add a level of value to their lives each day, is a big focus for us.
And as CEO, what brands, what leaders do you look to and think, oh, I would like us to be, in the next 10 years like this, be that I don't know, a Nike or whoever it might be, Apple, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, so when we started our brand and I really started to think about brands in more detail, the brands that I thought and I hoped that we would one day be able to become were the brands that it felt like I had an emotional connection to. And Nike's actually absolutely one of those. I've always felt like they've been able to maintain this status of being really cool but never too cool. They've just been really relevant the whole time for the time that they've been operating in. So Nike is a brand I admire a huge amount.
Have you read Shoe Dog, Phil Knight's?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite books.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's a really, really good book, yeah.
And then personally, you work alongside your wife Ella, building a multi-million-pound business. You got 2 little girls, I believe, as you said earlier. What do you do to decompress personally?
Gosh, there's not much time for it. I do actually. I have an incredibly understanding wife, so I play golf every Saturday morning. So I play really early. I tee off at 7:30, and I'm home by 11, which is great because it means I get the rest of the weekend for the girls or for the business, which is often needed. So I play golf, which is definitely my big switch off, and I absolutely love it. And I think Ella's realised how important it is for me as well, just to have a bit of headspace each week. But my life really now is my little girls, Ella, and all of the work, and we get to work with the most incredible people in our business. I feel so lucky to come into work each day and work with such special people, and between those 2 things, I feel like we've got a full life.
Sounds amazing. And yeah, I'm a big golf fan. I've just gotten back into it courtesy of the pandemic. I think when the golf courses opened again, and we literally, myself and 2 of my best friends, we take Friday afternoons off now from only from say 2 o'clock. We tee off at 2 o'clock, but the way that now spring's getting lighter again, it just feels nice, and it's just the best feeling, even if you play rubbish, you hit one decent shot out of 80 odd, it'll make you come back again, won't it?
Yeah, it's a special game. I love it.
Yeah. And just to finish up, Matt, would you recommend going into business with your wife? Is it for everybody?
Yeah, I think that you have to have huge levels of kind of mutual understanding for one another. I think that you have to be able to, I think communication is hugely key. I think that I wouldn't recommend it if you both had the same skill sets, you were both trying to do the same things. But I think if you have 2 different skill sets that can complement one another, I think that it can be the most rewarding, best thing in the world. It's undoubtedly made us closer by doing this versus in any sense pulling us apart. So, but I think that's been because we've done very different things.
Well, it's the brand certainly permeated my subconscious from my wife walking around with the ubiquitous sweatshirt on to recipe books and now food products as well. So big fan of the brand, and excited to see what you do over the next 10 years. So it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.